I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm out here in Poland. With me I've got Spencer Oliver himself. Spencer, not a bad turnout for a public workout.
I've got to tell you, Andy, it's been an amazing turnout. It's been a great week, actually. The whole build-up to this, you know, it's captured the imagination of the locals here. This shopping centre was absolutely packed when the main event, Alan Babic and Rozanski come in. Yeah, it was great, mate. It's been really, really good.
I went up for a lovely steak, man, an Irish pub, believe it or not, in the town. So listen, a little top secret there, what a steak it was.
I've got to tell you, mate, like, it's insane, isn't it? Because like, we come here, like, we're on the suburbs, we're in the outskirts of Poland, so you're expecting to be really Polish. I've seen nothing but Irish pubs, do you know what I mean? Like bars, restaurants, like, yeah, it's been, do you know what, it's been an eye-opener, but it's been great. But one thing I can guarantee, Saturday night, it is going to be absolutely packed in there. Rozanski has a huge, huge fan base, and him and Alan Babic, they're going to bring it, man. Like, Babic is like 11-0, 10 KOs. Rozanski 14-0 with 13 KOs. Both stylistically very much the same. There's no boxing technique going into this, mate. It's going to be like a pub brawl. They are going toe-to-toe. If we see the 4th or 5th bell, I'll be amazed, because both guys are talking the talk, and I think they will walk the walk on Saturday night. And then obviously we've got Martin Bakole here on the undercard as well, which is great, and Jamie TKV as well, another heavyweight, young heavyweight coming through, boxing his fifth contest. So brilliant night of boxing coming up.
I was going to say, I said on my Instagram post that I know there's a big fight in Vegas with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. I know there's a big fight in Cardiff where Cordina fighting for his world title against Rakhimov. But don't sleep on Babic and Rozanski. Do not sleep on this fight. This has got war written all over it.
Mate, it is like, listen, forget the technique, because that ain't coming. That ain't happening. If anyone tries to throw a jab, they'll probably get knocked out. That is the reality of it, because they're not technical. These guys come in, they swing, they throw bombs, and they look to get the job done early. Like I say, I never knew. Actually, this is going to be the shout for me. Alan Babic, and people know how Alan fights, is the more seasoned of the two. Rozanski is actually wilder than Babic, and that is insane, mate. Yeah, so if anyone tries to get smart or tries to box, they're probably going to get knocked out. It's one of those ones that they are both going to have to go out there, and they'll both roll the dice early. I expect that, and I'm expecting something, like I say, really special. But Coley is in a great position at the moment. He's just signed up a boxer. You know, he's the WBA #2 at the moment. We know what's going on in the heavyweight division at the moment. There's talk of this big competition going on out in Saudi, so we don't know what's going on there, but Bakole is knocking on the door. Anyone outside of boxing fans don't know who Martin Bakole is. He's probably the best kept secret, but now he's got this platform with boxers, Sky Sports. People are going to see a lot more of him. He's going to be active, and he's going to put a show on Saturday night. I'm really looking forward to that.
Chris, I'm glad you touched on that tournament out in Saudi. It looks like it's going to be in December. I've heard Eddie Hearn say good things about it. I've seen Wilder's team say good things about it. Well, not good things, but they're saying it's happening. There's talks going on. Joshua, Usyk, Wilder, Fury, whoever fighting, two of them fighting each other at the same night. It's ridiculous.
Listen, we're talking Wilder versus Joshua, Fury versus Usyk, winner watches winner. Could you imagine that? Getting them two fights after all the disappointments we've had over the last 2 or 3 years, trying to get this undisputed fight on. If we got that on, skills challenge out in Saudi, trying to pull it on, they've got the money to pull it on. Talks are ongoing, so they're under, the talks have started. Mate, if this kicks off, it is going to be something absolutely insane. December, watch this space. But boy, if we get it, Andy, what that'll be like, for the disappointment, like I say, that we've had over the last couple of years with the heavyweights and fights not happening through, the politics of the sport. Let's hope we get it, man. If we get it, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned Martin Bakole, the Joe Joyce says, the Dubois. Where do they stand on this? Where are they on all this? Obviously, these world titles have been held for ransom by the top guys for a good few years now. So where do all the guys on the fringe stand?
Well, listen, the undisputed trumps the mandatory. So, these guys, we're talking about Daniel Dubois maybe fighting Alexander Usyk before this goes on. So he may get his opportunity. But then you've got the likes of, like you say, Bakole, like Filip Hrgovic, who's IBF #1. they're all going to have to mix it up themselves. You know, how good would that be if we had another tournament with them guys, with the winner of that fighting for the right to fight the winner of the other tournament? I mean, that's
They need an undercard out in Saudi.
Listen, I'll just give something else there for the skills challenge. We could go for, like, you know, the number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Something like that, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I mean, that would be insane as well. Look, we don't know what's going on in this heavyweight division at the moment. There's so many moving parts. But what we do know is there's big fights to be made out there. And hopefully, if we get this competition going in Saudi, that might lead to something else. Like you say, with the contenders, why they're waiting for their opportunity.
I mean, boxing needs it, I think. I think we need to see this number one guy in the heavyweight division. We've been waiting for so long, like you said, many years now. But talking about big fights, I do want to get your thoughts on it. Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. I've seen a few people pick Ryan Garcia in this fight. Where are you standing on it?
Do you know what? It's a great fight, man. Ryan Garcia is the clean-cut kid out of the two. You know, Tank Davis is, you know, he's a little bit unpredictable, but what he is inside the ring, southpaw, explosive. I expect Tank Davis to have too much for him. If we get the best Tank Davis, I believe he wins the fight. But it's one of them ones, the closer we're getting, I'm looking at it and I'm going, you know what, Garcia, mate, he's got the tools in the locker to be able to win the fight and win it quite comfortably. Depends how he approaches it, but like I say, I've always been a big fan of Tank Davis. You know, I've always been, Gervonta's been, you know, I've always been a big fan of his style, the way that he fights. So I'm going to stick with Garcia, but it's one of them ones. Really looking forward to it, man. It's like the closer it gets, you go, what way am I going? Interesting fight.
I know we've been talking about good fights and big fights happening for the world of boxing, but I'm going to have to touch on it, Spencer. You've been very vocal on it, as many journalists in your position have been, the Conor Benn situation. Now, you probably know more than me. I've just seen little bits and reading little bits about Conor Benn. He's obviously been suspended by UKAD. I think he's gave the 270-page dossier to UKAD, not the board. I'm just going to go with it. What's your thoughts on it all?
Listen, I think from my understanding, he was in conversations with UKAD, you know, a couple of days ago, and maybe the evidence that he's presented has not been strong enough, and UKAD have decided to suspend him, and I think that's a global suspension as well. So, you know, he's not going to be able to. I think he was looking at fighting on June the 3rd. I don't think that's going to be possible now until, you know, this situation's resolved. But, you know, look, it has to, you know, it's one of those. I'm glad that it's now getting sorted, you know, whatever way it goes. And like I say, my understanding is that he has now been suspended, and let's just see what the turnout is from there. But the right thing's done, because look, he's failed 2 tests. If they're not happy with it, with the evidence that he's presented, then he's going to have to serve his ban.
You said a global suspension there. I just watched an interview with Coogan with Eddie in Cardiff. He didn't allude to a global suspension. Yeah. He still said that he was fighting in another jurisdiction. Where have you heard that? Where have you saw that?
So I've heard that, you know, WADA has got involved, which is the world governing, you know, anti-doping, and I think whilst this suspension's on, I don't think that allows him to box anywhere in the world, or anyone that's under the British Boxing Board of Control licence can be involved in that situation. So, you know, I think that we just have to wait out now and see where Conor, you know, see what the situation is. I think it's imminent that he's going to get a ban. I don't know if it's a 2-year ban, don't know if it's a 4-year ban, but it's imminent that that's going to happen, and let's just see what happens off that.
I mean, Eddie Hearn said he said that the journalists are finding out before he finds out all this sort of stuff. I mean, what a crazy world we're living in, if that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, mate, but it is what it is, you know. Yeah, the information's come from somewhere, but the information is true, that is for sure. So that's all I can comment on it right now.
Definitely. Well, Spence, like I said to you, we're out here in Poland. We spoke about the big fights, and Mark Bukoli in a big heavyweight fight against Ihor Strutinowski. I apologise if I've butchered his name. The Hulk, his name is on his. I've just seen the size of his head, Spence. It's about the size of your body. What a fight that's going to be. But the main event itself, just one more time, it's going up against the Cardiff show, and obviously the people are looking forward to the Vegas show. But why should people tune in on Sky Sports tomorrow and Saturday night? Listen,
just for all the reasons I've just pointed out, the Alan Babic Rozanski fight is going to be absolutely insane. Not because they're boxing geniuses, because they're not. They don't claim to be. They're brawlers. And you know what? When you get 2 brawlers, they go in there and they work so hard to get to this position. You know, they're fighting for the WBC Bridgerweight title. For them, you know, this is a huge huge night, and these guys will leave it all in the ring. That is a guarantee. This can't be a stinker. It can't be, and that's why they should be tuning in on Saturday night, because whilst it lasts, and I'll tell you, Andy, whilst it lasts, and I don't know if that's 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, or whether they grind it out, whatever happens, every round you're going to have drama, you're going to have excitement, and the undercard as well, you know, with this, you know, with Martin Bacoli, seeing him back in the ring as well. And Jamie TKV is a great kid to watch. He's having his 5th fight. He's getting that international experience. You know, he's got his eye on all the heavyweights like Fabio Wardley and whatnot. He's seeing all these guys coming through now. He's the next generation, but I think this kid, you know, could be up there with him as well. And I think the boxer are doing a great job with him, taking him on the road and getting him that experience that he needs.
I do want to touch on a little bit. My mate, a good friend of mine, Boris Crichton, is fighting on the card as well. He's fought Lyndon Arthur in Glasgow last week, and now he's fighting in Poland. Now he's had 3 fights in good competition in the last month. That's unheard of. Just a little shout out, kudos to Boris for me.
Listen, and I spoke to him over there actually, you know what, and he's full of beans, man, and he's up for it. He's come here to win, you know. He said, like, listen, I've been active, I've been, you know, and he's ready for this big stage, and yeah, I'm sure he's going to put up a performance. Like I say, look, he's pumped for it. So yeah, wishing him the best of luck on Saturday night, and I'm sure he can pull off a victory.
There you go. Thanks you, Spencer, as always. Always a pleasure to speak to you, big man, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, mate.
Refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,